bro?
My son was outside playing with his friend, and I'm on the porch. And no, matter of fact, I'm inside and I hear him start crying. So I come outside and he had fell. And when he gets back up, the other kid maybe 2 years older than him, so he's 7, my son 5, and he like, boys are tough. The 7-year-old said that, and I told my son like, you ain't got to be tough. You fail, you hurt yourself.
Right.
But it kind of hurt my heart.
Good afternoon, good morning, y'all. Back with another episode again. I think we on 8 now, right, bro?
And don't give me the line.
Episode 8. I'm gonna call it that, man. Welcome to Faith to Fear podcast with CJ and JC. We got a super special guest in the building with us today. We have he is a grief recovery specialist, community organizer, father, grandfather, holds many other titles. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Mr. Kwabena Shelton.
Hey, appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
So
Yeah, good to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he also has a birthday coming up on the 21st, so y'all make sure we're gonna throw the Cash App in this episode. Give my boy some bread, man.
get it to him.
Drop some funds off, man. How y'all fellas feeling today, man?
Pretty good.
no, we don't accept. We got it's feeling words only.
JC not gonna let you.
You know what's so crazy?
Right.
Where I learned that from.
Probably from I'm feeling really fire, man. Okay. I'm tired, but I'm feeling really great.
Yeah,
it's great to be alive. So
amen.
I'm a little tired also. I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a lot of gems dropped.
Right.
And it's needed.
For sure. I feel motivated, y'all.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. I'm actually coming straight off of a therapy appointment this morning. I had an appointment at 10 a.m. and jumping straight into this with y'all, man. So she got me in my bag.
Yeah, for sure.
Good start of the day, absolutely.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir. So can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Wow. So first, I got another feeling word too. I need to put this out here up front because I'm feeling a little nervous too.
Okay.
Oh, no worries, man.
And I'm only nervous because it's very difficult talking about myself. You know,
I understand.
And so I'm better able to do that if I'm prompted with questions. So the one you just asked me a little bit about myself. I'm from Akron.
Okay.
Born here, went to all the Akron public schools, Krause, West, which is no longer.
I was about to say West. Now,
longer here.
Yep, I heard.
South High School, which is no longer a high school, but became Miller South. Mm-hmm. And then I left and went off to college on scholarship with Grambling State University.
I was going to ask you that.
That was to change my life. I tell people I grew up in Akron, but I was born in Akron, but I grew up down south. Mm-hmm. Grambling was life changing. Got a chance to play in the band for the 4 years I was there.
Sheesh.
Traveled all over the world. It was a life changing experience.
What you play in the band?
Saxophone. I was going to ask you to guess, but
yeah, man. You know, I don't know if you ever seen Boys in the Hood. It's this trend right now where everybody using that saxophone on the internet. We had to show it to you, man. But shout out to Grambling State University. I got an aunt. Shout out to my aunt Trista. She's a professor at Tri-C, but she told me about Grambling. Is that in North Carolina?
It's in Louisiana. Grambling, Louisiana.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So thank you for sending over your bio. I want to ask you, what does this mean to ice, baby? Ice, baby. The black and gold. You was alpha, huh?
About that? Yeah.
Hey,
man. that's a whole nother story too, man. Because that process I started in undergrad, but I didn't complete it in undergrad.
Okay.
And that was, the grades is important.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
That process, but the grades were also important for me to keep my scholarship with the band. And so those were competing interests. And of course, the band was my money for school. So I ended up dropping the line, but I finished the process here at University of Akron when I attended grad school there. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I finished the process. It's different though as an adult. I mean, on this side of the journey than it was in college.
Yeah.
We do some really great things in our community. The Channelwood Village, we built that. And if you know anything about our fraternity and our founders, all the streets are named after them over in Channelwood.
Okay.
Williams Tower, Judge Williams, he was I think 35th president of the organization nationally. And so we've done some pretty good things in the city of Akron across the globe as well. So I'm proud to be that. And the thing that really moved me into Alpha was the people who were Alphas.
Exactly.
It wasn't necessarily the organization itself, but when I was, so you're talking about the 60s and 70s, when I'm looking at people like Martin Luther King,
and,
right? You know, Thurgood Marshall and Paul Robeson. I'm studying these people,
right?
You know, Andrew Young. I'm like, man, these all guys were alphas. I said, whatever they doing, I want to be like them. You know,
sure.
They were my motivation to.
It's always I actually wanted to pledge Alpha as well. I didn't end up doing it. Right, I know it, man. But you know, definitely a lot of esteemed people. Definitely when I seen Martin Luther King, I used to want to go to Morehouse when I was before I got to college or whatever. I think I was starting out freshman year. Definitely wanted to do like Morehouse. Like I always had an affinity for like HBCUs. Like I think it really came from, I don't know if you ever seen School Days, but definitely you know, seeing that movie kind of like changed my life and my trajectory of like just outlook on HBCUs realistically. Even though I know the college in that movie was fictional, they still, you know, showcased a lot of actual, you know, fraternities and everything. Since this is Grief Recovery Month, we'll be talking about that, but rest in peace, my great uncle Ryan Sr., he actually pledged Alpha as well. His name is Big Brother Iceman. Okay. And when I was a kid, he had his paddle on the wall. Okay. It's like, hey, boy, I'm gonna make you point, man. I said, what's that? He's like, you gonna bend over. I said, nah. You can't do that one, man. But you know, man, shout out to the fraternity for sure. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So I'm gonna call you Unc. This is my uncle, y'all. I ain't calling him.
That's good, man. Yeah.
So we've had a lot of conversations on the pod about HBCUs versus PWIs.
Okay.
For people in our community, like, what is your stance on that, or like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a different world. You know, the movie Different World, the series rather. It is definitely a different world, man. It's nothing like it. When I went to Grambling, you know, I didn't know really anything about the South. I just knew it was dirty and it had a lot of bad history with the lynchings and things like that. But I was committed to leaving Akron, never coming back, and Grambling was the place. I saw them on every Friday night, the Grambling football highlights, and I see that band getting it in, and I said, I swear I want to go, and so I just went. I went, auditioned for the band, and it was ironic. I didn't have to audition. You know, my clothes didn't come. I had a trunk. One of my brothers from South, he had gone a year before me, Larry Evans. And he said, hey, man, they're doing band camp. You need to come on, go with me now. I said, now? Yeah, now. And I told my mom, I said, I'm going to Grambling. And I had been accepted. But I wasn't prepared, really prepared. I just bought a trunk, you know, them college trunks. Bought a trunk and a suitcase. I threw some stuff in there and took off. And none of my stuff arrived when I got there.
Man.
Yeah, so I'm on the band field with Flag Brother platforms, heels 3 inches, and bell bottoms, black, and a 90-degree sun in Louisiana. It was crazy. So the assistant band director called me. He said, man, come here, son. I said, he said, you know, took me in his office. He said, where you from? I said, I'm from Ohio. And he said, how did you find out about Grambling? I told him, you know, the football highlights and all that. And then he said, what made you come to Grambling? He said, I told him my story. And we just talked. You know, and he gave me a scholarship. You know?
Wow.
I didn't have to audition. I didn't have to do any of that, you know. And then shortly after that, my luggage came. But at the end of that semester, he was so impressed with me because I was pretty good. I read in both bass and treble clef. I was a dancer, so I was on the dance committee and made up a lot of the routines as a freshman, which was unheard of. And back then we said we was chopping people's heads, man. we called chopping their head because when they be trying so hard to outdo us, their hats would come off. You know, so chop their head. But at the end of that semester, man, they gave me 10 scholarships to bring back to Akron, and I couldn't give one of them away, man. Not one.
Man, that's sad.
It was. I was so hurt and crushed, man. So I said, I ain't never coming back to
Wow.
But you know what? One of my advisors that he told me, he said, that's what happens to cities like Akron, Grambling, you know, a lot of the good minds and stuff leave and go away to college and they never go back. And you're the one that they need to help change the situation back home. So that hit me when I was living in Atlanta to go back home when he told me that he died, and that hit me. I said, I need to go back to Africa. I've been here.
I was going to say that to you too, because I seen that you had put that they challenge you to learn all you can and go back and take it back to your community. I'm not saying that couldn't happen at a PWI, but I think it's more inherent with you being at a HBCU, you know, the call for community. They're like, hey man, go back and bless your peoples, man. You know, like that's super solid.
For sure. And not only that, man, I can remember them knocking on my door. I'm like hungover and with stuff. Why you ain't in class? You know, like, what you doing here? Right?
Keeping you alive,
They
man.
care, man. They invite you over. I can remember going over to Thanksgiving dinners because we couldn't go home, you know, like other kids, and so I can come over for meals and all that just to talk because they knew we were homesick. So they would pull you in and get you talking about home and laughing and things like that. And then next thing you know, you ready to continue your journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, that's so important. I say that all the time, man, but it's about who you keep around you, man. I brought you up this morning in therapy, bro, because I said, man, you know, like I'm just happy to have some solid cats around me for real. But I'm like, man, you know, like iron sharpen iron. I'm like, man, my dude JC been posting, you know, his fitness on his Instagram story, been playing tennis. But then I was like, look at my dude getting his money, man. I gotta get back in there. Like,
yeah, let's get it.
I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, that'd be motivation, bro. So definitely appreciate you for sure.
Likewise, you know what I'm saying?
I know you play tennis.
Yeah, man. That's another story for another day. But actually, while we on that subject, man, I need some comp, man. Don't be scared, anybody. You know what I'm saying? I got an extra racket. I'll teach you the basics of
extra,
it.
bro.
Yeah. I'm trying to you know, form my own community.
Yeah, that's cool for sure.
It's an untapped resource, I feel like, in our community. Yeah.
While we at that, I got a bike. Y'all cop some bikes because I've been trying to start like a little cycling community for the black people who are active for like at least a couple years now, but I feel like that's untapped too for real.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
That's I got something for you with the bikes now. But it's a funny story, and I got something for you too. But with the bikes, I got a bike, and I've had it for probably about maybe 7 years now, I would guess. So when my mom was alive, you know, she would always tease me, say, when you gonna ride your bike, right? Because she was living with me in her older age. And, you know, so I said, let me get this bike out. So it was like after the year 5. And there's dust in the basement. So I get the bike out. I live on Euclid. So I'm riding up Euclid to a Krause. I get the Krause, man, and I say, I can't do this. I got off the bike and walked it back down.
It's over with.
I was busting out laughing. She said, what's that? Whatever. I said, I'm going to try again tomorrow. So the next day I went in, got the bike, made it to Krause, turned that hill, going up diagonal, got the Easter, man. I said, it's over.
It ain't for me.
Walked it back over. We gonna watch me walk the bike back down the hill, man. So, but I can do the bike now. But yeah,
shout out to you, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but South, we didn't have a tennis team, and I learned to play tennis so that we could have a tennis team.
Wow!
And I taught 3 other people to play tennis, and we started a team.
Man. That might be a divine order for me because years ago, the head of the athletic department for APS, I reached out to him via Twitter and asked him, like, what would it take to get booked to a tennis team? And obviously, I had graduated by this time. And he said, as long as I got maybe 3 or 4 people, they would give him a team. Yeah. And I kind of left it alone, but it might be something I'll look into.
That might be your cross to carry, brother.
There's one person, man, to show interest. The kids they come
for sure. Yeah. And that's man, we need examples, for sure. So
that's y'all, man. Yeah, it's y'all time, man.
Nah, for sure. You right.
Yeah, it's y'all's time, man.
Absolutely.
I want to get a little bit into the grief recovery, right? When people hear the word grief, they usually immediately think about death. What are some other losses that people may be grieving without even realizing?
So in the grief recovery method, we teach that there's over 42 different types of losses that a person might experience over the course of their lifetime. It could be the traditional ones or the ones that people most gravitate to with death and divorce or something like that. But when you change a job, right, you're grieving that. So let me go back. to the definition, right? So when we teach grief, we say grief is the conflicting feelings that's caused by the end of or a change in a familiar pattern of behavior. So just think about that. The conflicting feelings that's caused by the end of or the change in a familiar pattern of behavior, right? Graduating from high school, it's a change in a pattern of behavior. Having a baby, becoming a father, having a divorce, I talked about that, but losing weight, gaining weight, having health challenges, right? These are all grief issues because they're conflicting feelings that's caused by these changes in familiar patterns of behavior. So grief is not, and I want to make sure that we don't confuse grief with trauma, because that's a different kind of experience as well. You know, we do experience trauma, especially as Black men. I tell people every day is a trauma day for me. You know, I walk out the door and I don't know if I'm going to make it back because of, you know, the environment that we live in. And it's not my community that I'm afraid of. It's those who don't look like me, who are the most violent people on this planet. And so, so I guess that's a long answer.
No, it's what we needed. Yeah. Take this. We got you on here for a reason. Take all the time you need.
I want to ask you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What started you on like that journey? Like, how did you decide? Like, hey, I want to start like get involved with this program?
I think as a kid, you know, some of my cousins and friends, they used to call me Pappy because I was always, you know, the person to go to address stuff, you know, and it's just that gift. I think it was there, you know, so I take that even back, you know, so following the path towards counseling, you know, which is my master's is in counseling. I start reflecting back and learning more and more about my own history and past. So when I realized that my mom, I don't know if you know this, but my mother was 23. Let me go back. My sister is the oldest. She turned 4 in December. My dad died in January. My mom turned 24 in March. My brother turned 2 in May. And I was born in August. So imagine in the 50s, a 24-year-old woman with 3 children, not even school, 2 children and 1 on the way, and her husband, who's the main source of income, passing away. So I just truly believe my mom suffered a lot of grief and depression as a result of her. And so she's carrying me. And I think that energy was transferred to me too. And so I'm very empathic. I can feel people's energy around me. When I walk into a room, I can sense what's going on in this room and what's needed. And so I'll bring it, whether it's light, whether it's information, whether it's care or kindness or, you know, energy that the room needs. And so I didn't know that was a gift. The elders would tell me when I was a kid that I was born with a veil. Y'all know what that means?
No.
So like when you're born with a veil, there's 2 kind of ways that happens.
Like a seer thing?
Yeah, so that's one way. The way I think most people see it is that some children when they're born, infants when they're born, they have this thin layer of skin that covers their face or their eyes, right? So you have to get it surgically removed. That's one way. But the other way is that when a person is born on the heels of one of their parents' death, or both, then they come in with a veil. They talk about because the weeping and they have gifts, whether it's healing and all seeing and all that kind of stuff. So as a kid, they used to, before I started going to school, I remember my aunts and them coming to get me to pray for people and lay hands on people. And I'm thinking I'm a doctor, you know, a kid, you know, but that and then I shied away from it because it felt weird, you know, to have these kinds of things happening to you as a child and nobody being able to explain them to you. And so I start putting pieces together as I start going through my program, talking more to my mom about what was going on when I was born, all those kind of things. And it just began to click. And I realized, and I read this book called Things Fall Apart.
I heard of that
by
title.
Chinua Achebe. Great book. But in his book, he talked about who these gifts that we have and how we need mentors, to help us understand our gifts. And in our traditional cultures, we had mentors who showed us who our gift was. The community knew who you were anyway, right? Because of the year you were born, right? It tells you something about the kind of character that this person is coming in. This is what we teach in rights. The year you were born tells us, the community, what's needed for our community right now, right? The month that you were born tells us some more information, right? Whether you're Leo and all that kind of stuff, right? The day of the week tells you more information about when you were born. So now the child is born and they wait to see what characteristics from the spirit world they bring, and they watch and they observe, and then they name the child afterwards. So when I think about the mentors, we were talking about that earlier. Mentors is not like how we are taught in Western culture, that is just somebody that's going to provide you with adult role modeling and all that kind of stuff. No, mentors are people who are able to hone you in your gift.
Right.
If you are a person who are really good at articulating and debating, right? And so they would put you with an attorney or somebody like that. So if you were somebody who's gifted with laying hands or healing, then they would put you with that person who's the healer, right? So that you will understand that your gift is not something strange, but it's something that is necessary because the community needs you.
Facts.
Right? So
My son was outside playing with his friend, and I'm on the porch. And no, matter of fact, I'm inside and I hear him start crying. So I come outside and he had fell. And when he gets back up, the other kid maybe 2 years older than him, so he's 7, my son 5, and he like, boys are tough. The 7-year-old said that, and I told my son, like, you ain't got to be tough. You fail, you hurt yourself.
Right.
But it kind of hurt my heart that 7-year-old is learning those math. You get what I'm saying? They already and got him on some. Yeah. You can't do X, Y, and Z. Like only girls are allowed to do that.
Right.
But it's like, man, it's so deep. You know what I'm saying? It's so deep, and I'm glad I was there at that time, because my son would have took that as he'd have made that Bible for him. You know what I'm saying? That would have been scripture for him. Like, I can't be tough. I got to be tough. So,
but that's true too, though. That boys are tough, right? We're built different, and that's okay to be tough, but it's also okay to feel what you're feeling, because it doesn't make you less tough because you're able to feel
that part. Sure. And everybody got a blend of masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, definitely. You got to be able to pull from both to navigate the world.
Mr. Shelton, I was curious, what month was your mother born in?
March.
March. She
March
a Pisces?
11th. Yep.
Man, I knew you was gonna say that for some reason. I don't know why. My girlfriend is a Pisces, but you said I can't. Who said they mother closed the door?
That was mine.
That was yours. Okay.
Yeah.
But then you said just her being so strong. My girlfriend got a lot of them like traits. She don't really like to let you see her stumble or nothing like that. So, man, you said something that I wanted to touch on. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. I might mess this up, but grief definition is like the end of a chapter or end of a phase, a pattern being broken that you're not used to.
It's the conflicting feelings.
Conflicting feelings.
And I think the feelings is the most important part about grief, is because when it's the emotional response to losses of any kind.
There it is.
Right?
Right. And
when we think of grief, most of the time, especially as men, we think of grief as being something that happens in our head,
right?
As opposed to in our heart. Our heart is hurting, but we don't have oftentimes the words to say, "Hey, I'm hurt, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, right." We don't have that vocabulary of words to allow our hearts to speak, and so we'll go to our default, which is, "I'm good, I'm fine, I'm okay,"
Right.
So with that, I want to give a little more context to the conflicting feelings, and tell me if I'm correct. When you're talking about conflicting feelings, like say it is someone you love passed, right? Two things can be true at one time, and that's where the conflicting feelings come in. I'm sad they're gone, but I might be happy that they're no longer suffering if they had like a terminal illness or something like that, right? Absolutely. So then that's that conflicting, like, That's the
absolutely,
okay,
absolutely.
okay.
And I give you a case in point. When my mother passed, you know, I watched her life diminish. You know, this lady who was so strong and there for everybody in our family. She was the oldest of her siblings that were, you know, and so everybody went to her. Mm-hmm. Everybody came to her. Everybody leaned on her. And so to see her life depreciate over time in my presence every single day, and then caring for her, and you know, and seeing now that she can't drive anymore. Now she can't really, you know, digest her food anymore like she used to. Now she can't, you know, behave herself like she used to anymore. And just to watch that depreciation of life was horrible for me. Right, and eventually my nieces said that, Uncle, we got her from here. Yeah. Right, and they took her the last 3 years before she passed. And so the conflicting feelings when she passed, because I did a letter in the grief recovery method. You do a letter. We can talk about that later, but I did the letter on my mom. And one of the conflicting feelings was, Mom, I'm sad that you are no longer here. You know. But I'm happy also because I realize that you're not, you know, you don't have to suffer anymore. So you're absolutely right. It can be both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Man, this is bringing something up in me, man. y'all, like, I'm just like, my gosh, there's a world of thoughts over here. But this kind of jog me to a memory. I might have been like maybe 5. Me and my mom used to watch the Cosby Show a lot together. It was an episode. Rudy was turning maybe 6 and she was crying. She didn't want to get older. I was a mama's boy, man. So I think I remembered that I started crying when I had to turn 6. I said, Mom, I don't want to go to first grade, or I don't want to go to kindergarten, or whatever the case was. Right. But then fast forward, I just talked about this in my therapy session this morning. I'm like, man, I turned 32. I'm fine, you know, now. But man, when I turned 30, it was like all hell broke loose. I was like at a loss because I felt like I know we grown, but I felt like my childhood youth was over with. Like I had to bury everything. And it was crazy because even within that time frame, I think I might have took this trip this year, but like going back to childhood, I had one this work trip or whatever to Florida. Me and Tierra went. And on the way back, I had, you know, I'm a horror fan. So I threw on a scary movie at first, but it was an older couple sitting next to me and it got real gross. I said, man, I'm going to turn this off. It's probably not appropriate. So I'm flipping through the movies and Space Jam. I'm like, oh man, I used to watch the hell out of this. Probably burnt the VHS tape, you know, but hadn't watched it in years, man. And man, I turned on Space Jam and I swear, like, out of nowhere, I start tearing up. Man. Like, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Yeah. I'm like, why am I like tearing up? Like, and I'm almost like, I'm not like, you know, hyperventilating, but like the tears keep falling. Why am I crying right now? And I'm like, oh shit, like you grieving your mother. My mother's alive. Right?
Okay.
So like me watching Space Jam was my like conscious or unconscious mind like tying it back to the last time to where I felt like I had normalcy with my mom.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, dude, your mother's alive, but like me and my mom, like I love my mom and everything, but it's been like we done had a lot of challenges within the last, let's call it 5 years. And I remember telling her, I was just like, man, dude, like I watched Space Jam and I'm like, dude, I just want shit to be normal again with you, dude. Like it's rough, so, you know.
Appreciate you sharing that too, bro.
Yeah.
That's definitely some people what they don't know about grief is you can grieve someone that's still
absolutely for sure. Because even to the point you just said, like with you know, grieving somebody's loss, but also like being relieved that they not suffering no more. If let's say if I wasn't able to like fully reconcile my relationship with my mom and she passed or something, like I would be grieving her passing, but then also grieving her because I wasn't able to mend the relationship while she was in the physical realm.
And that's what the grief, I appreciate you sharing that, man. And that's where I think the grief recovery method has merit, because even when you have a person who is alive and you're grieving a situation with them, you can still do this work on them without talking to them, and it will still be transformative. It'll still be transformative. And then once that process is over, you now have tools that you can use straight up, with the person, whether it's your mom, dad, girlfriend, wife, whomever. You're able to now pull these tools out of your toolkit and say, hey, when you did this, it made me feel such and such and such.
Right.
And I don't like that, but I forgive you because, right, it's good for me to do that. I don't want to hold on to this with you. Right, or I'm not ready to forgive you right now, and I'm working on this, but this is not good, and I don't accept it anymore. Right, so it gives you that. It gives you some tools, man. You said something else that I want to go back to, and this is something through rites that I've learned. Right, and the rites of passage, these are definitionally it is the rituals that are developed to aid the initiates through the various developmental stages of his or her life to ensure that they make a successful entry into a new life situation or a successful departure from a disturbing life crisis, right? So let's break that down. When you talk about various stages of one's life, you remember I said rites take you from the womb all the way to the tomb. One major transition is from young adulthood to midlife, and that happens at 30. But if you don't have that preparation to say, hey, man, we're ready to go into midlife, what does this mean? What does midlife look for me?
So I want you to finish off where you were at. You remember?
So it's talking about how religion, and most people don't really study, they don't really study scripture to understand that the relationship that we have with God is different. I think when you really look this thing through, for real, the Roman Catholic Church established something very diabolical. And even if you compare that with the Ethiopian Christians or believers, I don't even like the term Christian, but with the Ethiopians who had probably the most authentic practice of the faith from the first century, dealing with Philip and the Ethiopian who went back, right, to Ethiopia. So when you look at Ethiopia's history as far as Judaism is concerned, it goes all the way back to Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, Bakita, right, and having that baby that was born from them, right? So their history has been untainted for centuries. And so when Philip learned about the Messiah, who he was, it just brought to life the whole thing that they've been studying, looking for too. So they began to practice in a very different and authentic way, even to the point where the Messiah warned us about watching them systematize this thing and pervert it. And so this whole thing around religion kind of not just the perversion of it, it continued over centuries, right? Continued to morph in ways that that impacts how we deal with death and loss, for example. I mean, some other things too, but we're specifically thinking about death and loss. So if you're taught that heaven is a place, and you're taught that that God is can do all things and through all things, and from a very religious position, you are hurt when you realize that, hey, this person who I love dearly and God can do any and everything, and this person now is gone, and we feel taken from us. Then it makes you doubt and have those questions, right? And so there is no real answer from the religious world about how that is, or they're in a better place, or some of those things that they've passed on and taught, hey, there's no more pain or hurt, or you'll be okay, whatever, this time will heal loved ones. All those stuff is just cliches that are wrong to teach us, right? And so the other thing I talked about, the death side of it, is that when we look at, if we begin to really teach and understand and then teach what this transition into the ancestral world means, that it's another level of communication that's different. Like, the people don't leave us, they transition to a different realm and are able to help us and guide us and protect us from a place that we're just not familiar with. Mm-hmm. They're going back to where they come from, right? Mm-hmm. We are stuck here, right? And so we need their help. We need their assistance. And so, like in some cultures, they do the pictures on the wall. Mm-hmm. And they said that the pictures keep them alive, the memory of them alive. They keep and the pictures are really important because when you begin to start remembering them, then they begin to stop living.
Exactly.
Living for real.
They said you're not really dead until no one says your name anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So if we teach the living that they transition, if we teach death in a different way, especially to our kids, they won't be afraid of dying, but they'll be able to live even more fuller because it's really about how you understand your purpose, again, through rights. Who are you? Why am I here? Am I really who I think I am? Mm-hmm. And then how do me understanding those questions help me to function in my family, in my neighborhood, in my community, my nation, and my race? Because everything has to be tied back to purpose. You're here for a reason. You're on an assignment. You're here for a reason. So if you don't understand that, then the grief situations become more intense because you're thinking that there's no real basis to connect why I'm grieving with who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing and how it fits into my growth and purpose in life as I'm moving from one developmental stage to the next.
I just shared with my girlfriend this morning that it's not ironic, it's something to it, that I have like multiple close friends, like really close friends that have all lost a sibling. Like me. Some of them, it happened before we became close, but then a lot of them, it happened after, right? And I haven't really connected exactly what it is or why it is, but I think I want to do something for some type of program, some type of support group, something like for individuals that lost siblings, you know what I'm saying? Because I know it's a unique situation. It's a unique grief.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Because that's a lot of us. I mean, anybody who have brothers and sisters, there's going to be a loss at some point.
Sure.
Whether you're young or old. And I'm not sure what age group you're thinking of, but I think that would be definitely useful. One of the things, too, with the grief recovery method, I learned this. I became a specialist because I saw the power of it. It changed my life. The other reason is because I knew that a lot of us, and I mean African Americans in general and males in particular, really didn't have a place to share the hurt and the pain of their losses. So I wanted to be able to provide a space for that. And so when I partnered with Love Akron to provide this service to the community, it was a really good relationship, a good marriage. I'm still in that relationship with them. The ADM board funded, gave funding to a grant to Love Akron during the time of COVID and George Floyd. There was a lot of pain that was happening in our community, and there was nowhere to relieve it. And so they allowed Love Akron to get this funding, and Love Akron made these services available to the community free of charge. And so we've been working with these groups and providing the service. It's still free of charge. You can go to Love Akron's website
shout out to it.
Participated in a class. But I do this, it's more ministry for me. I realized that I didn't want a license from the state of Ohio or anybody else to control. I didn't want them having control over my gift.
For sure.
And so I rebelled with that. I mean, I went through the whole program, took all 60 hours, was a class away from licensure to be an independent counselor. And I stopped because I just did not want them controlling my gift.
Understandable.
But the grief recovery method, because it is a certification that allows me to do this work anywhere in the world, I said, God, this is it right here for me.
For sure.
So I went and got certified, and now, it's ministry for me.
Amen.
I'm very passionate about this.
You said something earlier, man, that made me think about this, but you said some cultures put the pictures on the wall so that you can keep memory. Man, one thing I feel like we got to keep alive is just physical formats of media. Like my auntie, on my dad's side, she used to have these VHS tapes of me and my cousin Mimi that you met, JC. But like we was probably like 4 or 5 years old on these tapes, and it's so underrated because that shit is like looking at a time machine. Like pictures is one thing, but like to be able to see the movement of yourself at that age and hear how your voice sounded too.
Yes.
Like unfortunately we lost the tapes in a fire at my dad's house. His garage had caught on fire, but I was hurt from that. But I'm like, man, like when we would watch him every now and then, and it just be like blowing your mind, like that's really me. Like you know, it's crazy. But the other thing you made me think about, rest in peace, my aunt Ethel, she had passed, like my great auntie, probably passed in like maybe like 2023, I believe. So my older cousin Eric, that was his mother, he did something that I feel like was so underrated, but I feel like, you know, we gotta keep our oral stories of oral stories of our ancestors and our people that came before us, right? But he interviewed his mom. And at her funeral, he played the voice recording and was asking her questions. Hey, what's your name? Ethel Cox. Where you come from? Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And she just like, he asking her questions that he wanted to know. And I just thought that was so
that's dope.
Powerful. Like, I'm like, man, I feel like it's probably damn near we got to do our due diligence with a lot of our elders, because once that's gone, that link is broken. Like you can't get it back. I mean, you can do some ancestry.com stuff, but you got to get them oral stories while they here, you know? So you just made me think about that.
And on the flip side of that, the children, you want to also get those stories of them, because they say things. You got to remember, children and the elders, one just left the ancestral world, the other one's on their way back. So the children still have memory, spirit memory. You know, they see people, they laughing and playing. You know, like, who they playing with? They talking to, right?
For sure.
Babies and stuff like that. Those, you gotta pay attention to that kind of stuff and capture it too, right? Because they just left and they're bringing information and messages. And if we really were a culture that followed rights to how it's supposed to be done, we know that this child is coming because they're coming, you know, in an age of fire, and fire brings certain kind of characteristics, or they're coming into an age of water. I came in water.
Fire sign. You a fire sign.
I'm a fire sign, but I'm a water I'm a water person because of the year I was born.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
And it's the last digit, and I can get you some of that information.
Okay. I want to know too.
Y'all need to go through rights. There's a class coming up, so I'll invite y'all. But water are caregivers.
Okay.
Right? And we have to be careful because water flows. It's always flowing, but it's, you know, where is it replenished, right?
Right.
So as a water person. What year was you born?
94.
4, you?
92.
2. 4 and 2. I think 2 is fire, and I think yours might be mineral or earth. Earth, grounded.
That's my moon sign is a Virgo.
Okay, all right. Yeah. The rights would be really. It'll take y'all to a whole nother level. Trust me. I think I was in my 30s when I actually went through a real authentic rights, and it just changed everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
What does recovery actually mean? Does recovery from grief mean you stop missing the person or stop feeling sad?
No, it don't. It doesn't. It means that you're able to get to a place where you realize that grief is real and it's okay and it's normal and it's natural. And it also means that you can begin the recovery process, because grief is ongoing. Once you learn tools to grieve, then you're able to take those tools and apply them across the various areas of your life. But anything can trigger that memory, right, of that person. You could be driving and a song come on and that will trigger a memory, or you can be walking in a room and you can smell something that like, ooh, that triggers a memory.
Right.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be sad if you understand where that person is. If you have a greater understanding of that person not being gone, right, they could send you that scent for a reason. They can send that song can be playing at a time where you need to think differently about whatever it is that you're about to do in that moment, because this person is giving you something to help you to remember or think about something that they would do in the situation that you're about to get into that can help you better navigate in that situation. So just paying attention to the fact that even though they're gone, yeah, we're sad. We're sad that they're not with us physically, but if we understand that they are not gone, then we'll have a different relationship with them in grief, and you'll still be recovering, but you'll recover differently because your understanding is different. If that makes any sense at all.
Okay,
man. Before I know we have almost had time here. I wanted to ask you two things. So, heard you pop locked a little bit back in the day. Yeah, man. Where was you at when that? I think I was watching. What was it? Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. You hip to that?
Yeah.
Man, the breaking movies was different. You still got it in you?
I don't know.
A little bit.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then
come to the party, man. You gotta come to the party and see, man. You're invited, all of y'all.
Oh, cool. I appreciate you.
You got your 70s gear on. You got to bring a flashlight.
Yeah,
flashlight.
Yeah,
okay.
All right.
Yeah, man. I dancing was my release.
Yeah.
The whole entertainment thing. My brother was good in sports. I was too, but following him was very difficult because I didn't have my own identity. I was Robert's little brother.
Okay, yeah.
And everything. Oh, that's Robert's little brother. Little Robert. No, I'm Terry.
Right.
So I went music.
Yeah,
because nobody went music. Then I found out that my dad, who died, like I say, he was 27. When he died, he played saxophone. I didn't know that until I was like, after I graduated from Grambling. Wow. He played saxophone. I didn't know that he was about to record.
Energy
singing.
Came back through you.
Yeah. He was a singer, and I found my uncles gave me some of his music that he was about to record in New York, So I went that route. And so the dancing thing was, that was the way that I can just release and be up on that stage and not, So I was.
Did you do some? I seen you did some work with Stevie Wonder or something.
Not with Stevie. I've done some work with a lot of people.
Okay.
He's one of the ones I would like to meet.
I think it was where you a Stevie stand-in for you would sing. You would sing. Was it the ribbon in us?
Oh, for my grandkids.
Yeah, okay.
Grandpa
That's funny. Stevie got this song since we talking about grief called "These 3 Words."
Yeah,
man, just talk about call your peoples to tell them I love you.
Yep.
When was the last time I heard you say? Mother or father, I love you. But it was like basically, until sometimes you don't get to say it until they're gone. So just be sure to tell your peoples while they're here, so give them their flowers, man. Yeah. That's a powerful song.
It is. That song put me in tears, I think, the first
I didn't hear it until 2019. My God. Yeah, it was, and I was telling y'all about my stepsister Rachel. I heard it after she passed, so I was like, woo! Yeah, it tore me up, man. Tore me up for sure. Yeah. Jay, you got anything, bro?
No, that was it. I think we covered a lot, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Definitely appreciate you coming on.
I thought you were gonna say something about some of that other work, like the lost history graph and the relationship graph.
See, I didn't dig all the way that deep into it. That's why we gotta have a part two. We gotta have a part two.
Absolutely.
What part you talking about from the
method? Yeah,
because I know the one was where you had us identify the different experiences, whether it was switching schools or the loss of it. What is that chart called?
So in the lost history graph, it's it's all the major losses that have happened in your life. You just chart them out, and the way that you draw them on the chart is that the longer the line, the more intense the loss was for you.
Okay,
and so you start from the time you were born. We call it the dawn of conscious memory up until now, and you just chart those losses, right, what they were, the most significant ones, because you can get pretty lengthy with the graph. And what it shows you is that there is some patterns could show in the fact that, when this happened, I stirred this way. When this happened, I used the misinformation this way because they told me that I would get another one or they're in a better place. And so you're mapping out things that you've learned prior sessions because they keep building on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I mapped mines out, it kind of gave me some understanding about, that's why I was acting the way I was right then, or that's why this time was so difficult. Right. You know what I'm saying? I never got over this, or I forgot about. You know what I'm saying? I forgot this even happened.
Got sick during this period of time. Well, this is when I got into that accident when this happened right here. So
for sure.
But the relationship graph, that's the one, because the relationship graph. Now that you've done this work to open up and be honest about the real losses that have happened in your life, you can see that some of those lines, showed me that, this is a relationship I need to work on, because it was very intense. So I went in to begin, when I first did my first class, I went in to work on my divorce, because that was really painful, very, very painful. But when I started doing the work, what showed up in the work was that I needed to do the work on my mother, my relationship with my mother.
There you go.
And so, man, that's
gonna show you the real.
Alive. She was living with me. Yeah. She was alive. And when you do this work, you don't talk to the people about your work. Yeah. Once you finish it,
I need that from you, to be honest. Definitely, because I got some work to put in, boy, for sure.
It'll change some things. It'll help. It helped me. I'm gonna put it like that.
How often do they do the grief recovery groups?
So we just received the funding. I probably won't start. I'm gonna do an all men's class, and I'm going to do some co-ed classes. I probably won't start until I come back from our college tour. I do a HBCU tour every year.
Okay.
This will be with this organization, this will be the 4th annual tour. And we tour HBCUs, about 5 or 6 of them. We hit museums and cultural spots along the way that kind of ties the experience together. This year we're supposed to be going to Mississippi. We'll hit Jackson State, Alcorn, Mississippi Valley, Tougaloo College. And then we'll head over to Grambling for homecoming week. And I don't know if you know, homecoming at HBCU is
crazy.
Nothing like it.
I heard, man. I heard.
It's a week long of activities. And Grambling we're celebrating our 100th year for the marching band.
Wow.
So congrats.
It's going to be live.
Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Shout out to Grambling, man. Yeah. Anything that you would like to plug in to let the people know about? Do you have any social media where we can follow you at?
Nah, man. Let me tell y'all, I've been trying to get in contact with him for a month now on Instagram, everywhere. He said that's not the place. That's not the place. You got to call him.
I don't know that. Yeah, I remember I'm 7, so that stuff I don't understand it enough to use it valuably. But you call me, we make it happen. I do want to. There's 2 plugs if I can.
Absolutely.
The Legacy Building Project is really major. The Akron Rites of Passage Institute this is really a big deal for us, because it'll finally give Black folks a place where we can come together, that we can strategize about our own empowerment, we can educate our kids in knowledge of self, and the facility itself is going to be so live how we got it designed. I don't know if y'all know about kinetic sidewalks. You walk on them and they create energy, and that energy goes back into the building.
No.
It's going to have solar. It's going to have wind. We got EV charging stations in the parking lot. It's going to be crazy.
That's tough.
It's going to be crazy. They're retracting seats in the auditorium so that we can use it for other kind of conventions and stuff like that. It's going to have merchant space in there. We're thinking about some restaurants. We're going to have a rooftop. It's going to be a venue for the world to come and see us. How do y'all do so much with so little? That's what we do.
Right.
Take a little and we take it to the next level. So that's the one thing. Plug into that, participate in that. And then, like I said, the college tour is something that's really huge, exposing our students in this area to HBCUs and that whole world. And then lastly would probably be the fact that the grief recovery method is, for me, ministry. You don't have to wait to do it with Love Akron. We can work it out. It is a fee, but I work with you.
Yeah,
It's typically about an 8-week class, sometimes 9, depending on the time, the person and how they're moving in the work. You got to do the work.
Right.
And it's hard work. It's really some difficult work, because you're going into places that you covered up for years, you know. So you got to break it up like a rock and allow yourself to be embraced.
Excavation.
Yeah, man. It's just like that. And so, yeah, I got website links and stuff I can share with you guys at another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, I got to end with this because you reminded me of something you said earlier, but shout out to Jada because he said, wonder why we don't laugh at death and cry at wonder why we don't laugh at death but cry at birth. Never say you can't do it till you try it first, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I like it.
Hey, I appreciate you for joining us.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Mr. Shelton, definitely. Hey, this has been episode 8 of Faith and Fear podcast, and we'll catch y'all next time.
All right, peace.